The Las Vegas Raiders just walked into a new era, and the scary part is this does not feel like another empty reset. This feels planned. Fernando Mendoza is the future face of the franchise. Kirk Cousins is the steady veteran in front of him. Clint Kubiak is the coach hired to protect the whole process. And John Spytek has built the kind of roster Vegas fans have been begging to see for years. Nobody expected the Raiders to fix this much this fast, but suddenly the offense has structure, the quarterback room has a real path, and the pressure around this team feels different. Look at what they placed around their new rookie quarterback. Brock Bowers gives him a matchup nightmare. Ashton Jeanty gives the backfield real danger. Tyler Linderbaum gives the line a serious anchor. Jalen Nailor, Derek Young, Connor Hayward, and Ian Thomas give Clint Kubiak pieces that fit his style instead of forcing the offense to survive on broken plays. That is the part people are missing. Fernando Mendoza is not being dropped into a mess and told to save everyone. For once, the Raiders built the room before asking the quarterback to carry it, and then comes the twist. The defense might be the part that makes this whole thing dangerous right away. Maxx Crosby stayed, Kwity Paye arrived, Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean bring speed to the middle. Taron Johnson, Eric Stokes, Malcolm Koonce, and Thomas Booker give this team more balance than it has had in a long time. So the real question is not whether the Raiders got their quarterback. They did. The real question is how early this plan started, because the answer takes this story back to Miami Gardens, where Mark Davis may have already made up his mind before draft night ever arrived. Before Fernando Mendoza ever stood on that draft stage, the Las Vegas Raiders had already seen something most teams only hope to find. This was not a panic pick. This was not a late push from a desperate front office. Mark Davis went to Miami Gardens with one thing in mind: watch the quarterback up close when the whole season was on the line. And that is where this story gets serious, because the Raiders were not just scouting talent. They were studying pressure. Fernando Mendoza gave them the answer in the biggest game of his life. Indiana needed calm. Miami had the crowd, the moment, and the chance to flip the story. But Mendoza did not shrink. He handled the noise, kept the offense alive, and showed the kind of control that follows a quarterback into an NFL building. That is the part nobody should ignore. The Raiders did not fall in love with the highlight. They watched a future rookie quarterback prove he could breathe when everyone else was holding theirs. That night changed the whole plan. John Spytek saw the player. Clint Kubiak became the coach who could shape him. Tom Brady gave the building another serious quarterback voice. And suddenly, Kirk Cousins was not just a veteran signing, he was part of the runway. The draft pick looked like it happened in Pittsburgh, but the truth feels different. The Raiders may have made their real decision months earlier, and the next reason explains why Mendoza fits this offense better than people think. The dangerous part about Fernando Mendoza joining the Las Vegas Raiders is not only his arm, it is the fit. Clint Kubiak does not need to tear him down and rebuild him from the ground up. He can start with what Mendoza already does well: quick eyes, calm feet, sharp timing, and control before the ball is even snapped. That matters for a rookie, because NFL speed can bury young quarterbacks fast. This offense gives him answers before chaos arrives. Kubiak has a system that helps the quarterback breathe. Motion shows clues. Play action freezes defenders. The run game makes linebackers hesitate for half a second, and in the NFL, half a second can change everything. That is where Kirk Cousins becomes more than a backup plan. He already knows how this style works from his time with Kubiak in Minnesota, and that gives Mendoza a veteran voice who understands the details, the footwork, the reads, and the small mistakes that can turn a good drive into a disaster. This is why the Raiders situation feels different from the usual first pick pressure. Fernando Mendoza does not have to walk in and play hero ball to prove he belongs. He can learn the language, study behind Cousins, and still push for the job if he earns it. That is the tension inside this whole plan. The future is already in the building, but the Raiders do not have to rush him. And once you see what they placed around him on offense, the path starts to look even more dangerous. The Las Vegas Raiders finally gave their quarterback room something it has been missing for years: real help. Fernando Mendoza is not walking into an offense where every drive depends on one miracle throw. Brock Bowers can punish linebackers. Ashton Jeanty can make defenses respect the run. Tyler Linderbaum gives the middle of the line a serious grown man presence. That changes the whole feeling around a rookie quarterback, because confidence starts when the game does not feel like survival. This is where Clint Kubiak can get creative. Jalen Nailor gives the receiver room more speed. Derek Young already understands what Kubiak wants from his time in Seattle. Connor Hayward gives the offense a useful fullback piece, and Ian Thomas adds another tight end body who can help in heavy sets. None of these moves scream for attention alone, but together, they tell you something. The Raiders are building an offense that can move with rhythm, protect the quarterback, and make defenses guess before the snap. Still, one missing piece makes this story more interesting. Omar Cooper Jr., the receiver Mendoza trusted at Indiana, is not in Las Vegas. He landed with the New York Jets, and that means the quarterback who carried the Hoosiers with them now has to build new timing with new faces. That is not a disaster. That is the challenge. And if this offense gives Mendoza enough support early, the defense might be the reason he never has to chase games from behind. The Las Vegas Raiders did something smart before asking Fernando Mendoza to become the face of the franchise. They made sure the other side of the ball could help him breathe. That matters, because a young quarterback does not only need weapons, he needs a defense that can steal possessions, flip field position, and keep games from turning into panic mode. Maxx Crosby staying in silver and black gives this team its heartbeat, and that changes the pressure around the entire building. Now add Kwity Paye to the edge group, and suddenly offenses cannot slide everything toward Crosby without paying for it somewhere else. Then the middle gets faster with Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean, two linebackers who bring range, closing speed, and real confidence between the numbers. This is not about building a defense that looks good on paper. This is about creating a unit that can make third downs uncomfortable, stop long drives, and give Mendoza cleaner chances when his moment comes. The back end matters too. Taron Johnson gives the slot a serious veteran presence. Eric Stokes adds length outside. Malcolm Koonce and Thomas Booker give the front more pieces to rotate through a long season. For once, the Raiders are not treating defense like an afterthought while the quarterback takes every punch. They are building a wall around the whole plan. And once you understand the kind of player Mendoza is, this pick starts to feel even deeper than football. The Las Vegas Raiders did not just draft a big arm, they drafted a story that feels built for this city. Fernando Mendoza was not treated like a future #1 pick when his journey started. He was a two-star quarterback, easy to overlook, easy to doubt, and easy for bigger programs to pass on. But that is what makes this different. The rookie did not arrive here because the football world crowned him early. He climbed here because every stop forced him to prove he belonged. At Cal, Mendoza had to grow through pressure before the spotlight ever found him. Then he went to Indiana, and everything changed. The same quarterback who once had to fight for attention became the face of a historic season. His younger brother, Alberto Mendoza, was there too, which made the rise feel even more personal. But the strongest part of this story sits at home. His mother, Elsa Mendoza, has battled multiple sclerosis for years, and Mendoza has carried that family strength with him through every part of this climb. That is why draft night hit harder. Fernando Mendoza did not need the loudest stage to make the moment real. He wanted family close. He wanted his mother beside him. That tells you something about the person walking into the Raiders building. Talent got him drafted, but toughness shaped him. And now the strange part begins. Because the receiver who helped turn his college season into history will not be wearing silver and black with him. The strange part is Fernando Mendoza did not bring his most trusted college weapon with him to the Las Vegas Raiders. Omar Cooper Jr. is now with the New York Jets, and that makes this story feel different. The quarterback landed in Vegas. The receiver landed in New York. The connection that helped build one of the biggest college football stories of the year now becomes something the Raiders have to watch from across the league. At Indiana, Mendoza and Cooper had the kind of trust you cannot fake. When the game tightened, Mendoza knew where the ball had to go. When the moment got heavy, Cooper knew how to finish it. That Penn State catch did not just save a game, it helped push Mendoza deeper into the Heisman race and showed NFL teams what he looked like when everything came down to one throw. Now that same receiver is wearing Jets colors, and that turns a lost draft fit into a future storyline. And there is another layer. Geno Smith is also in New York now, after the Raiders moved him to the Jets before the draft. So the team that took Mendoza's favorite target also took a former Raiders quarterback into its own rebuild. That is not random noise. That is football setting up its own drama. Mendoza has new weapons in Vegas, but one day he may have to look across the field and see Cooper on the other side. And when that day comes, the AFC West picture around the Raiders might look even more serious. The Las Vegas Raiders are not entering a quiet division. They are entering a division with cracks, pressure, and one of the biggest openings they have seen in years. The Kansas City Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes, and nobody should pretend that stops mattering. But his knee recovery changes the whole mood around the AFC West. Justin Fields arriving as insurance tells you the Chiefs are being careful, and when the king of the division has even one question hanging over him, every team starts looking at the door. The Denver Broncos made their move too. Jalen Waddle gives Bo Nix a real speed threat beside Courtland Sutton, and that makes Denver dangerous. But going all in also brings pressure. The Los Angeles Chargers still have Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh, so they are never easy. But losing Odafe Oweh from the pass rush, nobody in this division looks weak. That is not the point. The point is, every team has something it must solve fast. That is why the Raiders suddenly feel alive. They have a new rookie quarterback in Fernando Mendoza, a steady bridge in Kirk Cousins, a coach in Clint Kubiak who knows how to build around timing, and a roster that no longer looks unfinished. Vegas does not need to talk like a finished product. It needs to act like a team with a real plan. And if that plan hits sooner than expected, the AFC West might find out that the Raiders did not just get better. They arrived right when the whole division became vulnerable.